Okay, everyone, so let's start off this week talking about just communication in general with some communication myths. So the first communication myth is that communication is a cure-all, which means if you communicate, you can fix everything. Now, let's step back and think about that for a second. That's not necessarily true. Think about when you're really angry at someone. Let's say somebody has done something that really hurt your feelings or that's really made you mad. In the moment when you're really upset, no communication is really going to help that situation. You just want to be left alone. You don't want anybody to talk to you. Most certainly you don't want that person that made you upset talk to you. So that's not going to fix things. Let's say that you are really enveloped in a problem and this problem is really bothering you and someone is coming in and trying to give you advice. A lot of times when you're, again, in that moment, any sort of advice that anybody gives you, you're not going to listen to, so that's not going to fix anything. So you can think of a number of times that communication isn't really going to fix everything, or in some cases, anything. So the second communication myth is that communication is just common sense, that everybody can communicate, so communicating to another person effectively is just common sense. We all know it. I mean, we all can talk, right? So we all can communicate. Well, that's not necessarily the case either. Again, some people really don't say the right words to other people. I mean, think about it. We all have those trigger words or those trigger subjects or trigger phrases. For example, for me, it's politics. I hate politics. I don't care if it's Democrat, Republican, whatever else. If you start talking to me about politics, I'm going to tune you out and I'm going to start trying to change the subject. So you trying to talk to me that way, that's not common sense because I don't want to hear it. There may be subjects for you that you don't want to hear about. So let's say that someone is trying to explain a task to you or how to do something. Let's say somebody's trying to explain to you how to fix a computer. Now, if you don't have that technical knowledge and that person that's explaining it has that technical knowledge, then it's going to be real difficult for that person to explain to you how to do something. Let's say that you ask somebody for directions. The person you ask is going to be really familiar with where you need to go, but you have no clue. So it's going to be really difficult for that person to get down on your level. I'm not saying you're stupid, but just to your level to really help you get to where you need to be and give you simple directions. So in that case, communication is not common sense at all. It really comes down to knowing the context, knowing the person, knowing the right words to say, and that's not common sense at all. That's really complicated. Now, the third communication myth is that communication quantity equals communication quality, or meaning the more communication that's out there, the better the communication will be. Well, we all know that. I mean, let's say that somebody sends you the dreaded text that fills up your entire screen. You know that something's about to go down when you read that. It's not going to be good. It's not going to be a quality piece of communication. Chances are that person is just going to be ranting about someone. Let's say that your instructor records a 40-minute video for the class and expects you to watch it. It's going to be really difficult for you to sit there through all of that communication. Again, there's a lot of communication going on. There's a lot of quantity, but it's not quality because unless it's super interesting, you're probably going to doze off or you're going to take multiple breaks to check your social media. So having more communication out there isn't going to help. Again, going back to the previous example I gave when you're really mad at someone. If you're really mad at someone and they try to talk to you, you're just going to get more and more and more angry. So all of those things are communication myths. And I think really you can sum that up with, I guess, a fourth myth is that communication is easy. Communication isn't easy at all if you want to do it well. There's so many things that you have to think about when communicating effectively that it is a little bit overwhelming. So let's talk about that next.